If I asked you the simple question, what is prayer? I would probably get many different answers or definitions, but most people understand that the essence of prayer is communicating with God. The form of that communication might be rather surprising to some people though, especially if you thought that prayer only consists in the rather formal words that we compose to address God. At the beginning of this year, I read Psalm 5, Psalm of David, and I've been thinking about the first 3 verses ever since. Listen to these words. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my sighing. Listen to my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray. In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait in expectation. This is a prayer of David, and he begins by asking God to listen to his words. Give ear to my words, O Lord. As far as David is able, he uses words to pray to God. He thinks and forms sentences in his mind that express what he wants to say to God. And he asks God to listen to these prayers expressed in words. Prayers usually have words, but not always. That might surprise you because you might be wondering how you could pray without words. But in the next phrase, David asks God not just to listen to his words, but also to consider his sighing. We have no way now of knowing what situation David was facing as he wrote this psalm, but I think we can all relate to times in our own lives when we couldn't even form a prayer with words. But as we came to pray, only a sigh escaped from our lips. Or maybe we started off with words, but then the words seemed to fail us. We ran out of words to adequately express to God our need. There are times when we are under intense pressure at work or in our family circumstances. There are times when we are gripped by sorrow or grief and we are unable to find the words to form even one sentence in prayer. There are times when we are so burdened or troubled in our own minds or hearts that we cannot string words together. But a sigh rises from deep within our hearts. David reminds us elsewhere in Psalm 38 verse 9, all my longing lies open before you, O Lord. My sighing is not hidden from you. What a comfort it is to know that even when we can't find the words, when the burden is too great, when all that escapes our lips is a sigh rather than a sentence, God considers that too. He hears our heart and considers our sighing. David also asked God to listen to his cry for help. I don't know about you, but in my experience, when I've been in a situation where I have desperately and urgently needed the help of God, my prayers haven't always sounded very structured or organised. In David's life, he faced many dangerous situations, even life-threatening situations, many fearful situations, and he knew that a cry for help usually wouldn't sound polished. A real cry for help usually sounds quite desperate. And this psalm reminds us that God hears those desperate cries from our hearts. Maybe today you are facing a desperate situation, personally, in your family, and you feel as if you can't pray properly. Don't be afraid to just cry out for help from God. He will hear your cry. And then finally, David says that in the morning he lays his requests before God. But that isn't the end of it. He doesn't just feel that he has done his religious duty by saying his prayers, and now that the prayers are done and dusted, he can get on with the real business of the day. That isn't David's view of prayer at all. He goes on to say that when he lays his requests before God, he waits in expectation. As David goes about his daily life, he is looking in faith, in expectation to see how God will answer his prayers. Sometimes we ask, but we have no real expectation of receiving an answer. But today, may the Word of God encourage us to pray and to expect to receive an answer for our prayers, because we are praying to our King and our God, for whom nothing is impossible. So today, from your heart, whether your prayer be words, a sigh, or a cry, let your prayers arise to God, and He will listen to you.